All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. College football is back and it is in full swing. And of course, we saw a slew of games last weekend, and now we are really starting to get in the thick of things for the 2024 season. There's games on tonight, as well as Friday, and of course, Saturday, Sunday, and Labor Day night. And I'm going to take this time out right now to talk about some of the key games for this weekend in the world of college football. Now, I want to get things started on Saturday in Atlanta. As you're going to have the 14th ranked Tigers out of Clemson taking on the top ranked team to begin this season, the Georgia Bulldogs out of the SEC. You look at this game, and of course, you've got two teams that might be at the crossroads. For some time, we saw Clemson in that national championship picture. They've taken a step back, which included them losing 4 games last year for the first time since 2011. The Georgia Bulldogs were so close to winning a third consecutive national championship. They were the number one team in the land last year until they lost to Alabama in the SEC championship game, got bumped down. Of course, at that time, it was a 14 college football playoff. Of course, looking forward to this season, that would not have been the case. But nonetheless, both teams want to get started on the right foot. All the questions for Clemson and Dabo Sweeney center around their offense. It's one of those where, the Tigers were 61st in the nation in passing a year ago. How is this offense going to look with Cade Klubnik back there at quarterback? Running back Phil Maffa, he's once again going to be important uh, to this Clemson offense, but they've got to find a way, the Tigers, to try to stretch that field and keep this Georgia defense honest. You look at all of that talent that Georgia has over there, and of course, Kirby Smart is no stranger to having first round talent on his defense. You just look at the likes of Smell Munden at linebacker, and of course, Malachi Starks back in that secondary. Offensively for Georgia, they've got to go out there and they've got to replace wide receiver Lad McConkey and, of course, the all-world tight end Brock Bowers. You bring in former Florida running back Trevor Etienne. What is he going to do against this Clemson defense? And I'll tell you like this: Clemson, can rub elbows with just about anybody in the nation. The way that they play defense, you look at senior linebacker Barrett Carter. Really thought he was going to go to the NFL last year. He's coming back for his final campaign with Clemson. Keep an eye on him for in this game. And then, can this Clemson defense get to quarterback Carson Beck? Carson Beck, for the most part, last year was calm, cool, and collected in that pocket for Georgia. There are some people who think that he's going to be a first round pick this year or next year, rather, in the top 10 of the draft potentially. So let's see if he can get his season started on the right foot for Georgia. I'll tell you like this: we know that the dogs are heavily favored in this game. Georgia comes in, they're favored by 11.5. Atlanta is a stone's throw away from Athens. So there's going to be plenty of red and black in the stands there at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium cheering on Georgia. Nonetheless, for Clemson, what they've got to do, they've got to try to find a way to start fast. And when I say start fast, they have to start fast on offense. I think Clemson needs to go out there and score a touchdown early. Not only that, Clemson needs to find a way to consistently move the change, keep their defense off the field, keep Georgia's defense on the field, and try to wear them down. And most importantly, try to get that crowd out of the game. Easier said than done. Georgia begins this season ranked as a top team in the country. They're ranked number one for a reason. I'm going to take Georgia in this one by the score of 31-20. Now, in Morgantown, you've got a Big 12 battle, or Big 12 team, rather, hosting a Big 10 team. And I'm talking about the Mountaineers of West Virginia hosting the 8th-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. The Nittany Lions come into this contest favored by 8 points, and they're hopeful that this will be their year that they get to the college football playoff. On the flip side, this is an opportunity for the Mountaineers to go out there and make a statement. We saw West Virginia win 9 games last year, but they lost at Penn State by the score of 38-15. So just like it is for Clemson, I think that the Mountaineers need to come out here and start strong, especially on offense with senior quarterback Garrett Green and then sophomore running back Jaheim White. Last year as a freshman, he averaged more than 7 yards per carry for the Mountaineers. On the flip side for Penn State, this is year number 2 for Drew Allar at quarterback. And it's one of those, can he take his game to the next level? He had a solid campaign last year in 2023 for the Nittany Lions, but can he turn it up to another level? Make no mistake about it, when you think about James Franklin's teams in Happy Valley, they run the football. Penn State has 2 dynamic playmakers in their backfield in Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton, and I expect both of them to have an impact on Saturday. Former Ohio State wide receiver Julian Fleming, how will he fit in to this Penn State offense, especially after they lost wide receiver Keandre Lambert Smith in the transfer portal to Auburn? Now, for Penn State, they were second in the nation in defense last year, but they lost their defensive coordinator, Manny Diaz, who is now the head coach at Duke. You still got talent on that side of the football for Penn State, led by Abdul Carter at defensive end. Will they be able to pin their ears back and come after West Virginia? It's one of those situations. I think the fans in Morgantown are going to be electric. They're going to try to egg West Virginia on to get the upset. And I think Penn State has to find a way to survive that initial blow, okay, and then let their talent take over. It's one of those. Penn State comes into this contest favored by 8 points. I think Penn State covers on that. Because of that, I'm going to take the Nittany Lions by 10, 34-24. Now, you got a battle in the Sunshine States. You got the 19th ranked Miami Hurricanes out of the Atlantic Coast Conference clashing with the Florida Gators out of the SEC. You got a battle right here of 2 programs that really need to get off to fast starts. Both of these coaches, respectively, are in their 3rd seasons at their respective programs, and they really want to try to find a way to get their programs back to what they were. You think about Billy Napier at Florida. He has not had a winning season yet, and he's 11-14 so far at Florida. And of course, there are some rumblings that if he doesn't get this turned around in Gainesville, this could be his last year there. And you look in Miami for what they're trying to do under head coach Mario Cristobal. He's returned to his alma mater. This is his 3rd season there. Miami has shown signs, but can they break through? For me, like I said before, the pressure is definitely on Billy Napier at Florida. He does have an experienced quarterback that he is leaning on in one Graham Mertz. Now, you lost running back Trevor Etienne to Georgia, but you still got Montrell Johnson in that backfield. And I think the Gators are going to lean on him heavily in this contest. Defensively for Florida, what are they going to do? You look at the likes of free safety Jordan Castell. What can he do? And then also keep an eye out for middle linebacker Shamar James. But for Mario Cristobal's Miami team, they went west, okay, to get some talent to try to make an impact on this defense for the or this offense rather for this year. You got former Washington State quarterback Cam Ward running things for Miami, and then you have former Oregon State running back Damian Martinez coming out of that backfield. I like the talent that Miami has at wide receiver with a pair of seniors in Xavier Restrepo and Jacoby George. And then this Hurricanes defense led by middle linebacker Francisco Mauigoa, as well as defensive end Ruben Bain Jr. For me, this contest right here is not going to be pretty. It's one of those where Miami is favored by 2.5 points on the road. I think the first team that scores 20 will win this game. The Florida fans are going to egg this team on to try to go out there and get a win. I think this game comes down to who is more desperate. Now, on paper, you look at it and you simply say, take Miami. But for me, I think Florida finds a way to get it done at home, and I think Miami finds a way to lose it on the road. I'm going to take Florida by the score of 24-23. Now, on Saturday night in College Station, You've got the seventh ranked Fighting Irish out of Notre Dame traveling to take on the 20th ranked Texas A&M Aggies. And of course, these are the new look Aggies under Mike Elko. And of course, once upon a time, Mike Elko was an assistant at A&M, left, had success as the head coach of Duke, and now he is back to try to get A&M back among the top programs in the nation. You look at quarterback Connor Wegman for the Aggies. What is he going to be able to do against this Notre Dame defense? And then you've also got to keep an eye out for Texas A&M defensive tackle Shamar Turner. Now, for the Fighting Irish, will Marcus Freeman's club be able to start strong as they're looking to get to the playoff? And if you're Notre Dame, all of the non-conference wins clearly against ranked teams are really going to matter because you're still an independent, no conference championship game, and you're looking to try to find a way to get to that playoff. So you went to the ACC last year if you're Notre Dame to get yourselves a starting quarterback, and you had success with Sam Hartman. Now you went back there once again, and you have Riley Leonard from Duke. This is very interesting right here. Riley Leonard making his debut at Notre Dame or for Notre Dame against his former head coach at Duke and Mike Elko. That should be very interesting right there. The talent at Notre Dame, keep an eye out for running back Jeremiah Love and then free safety Xavier Watts. Now, A&M comes into this contest favored by 3 points at home. You know it's going to be loud on Saturday night in Kyle Field. I know that Notre Dame is ranked higher, but for me, when you've got a head coach going up against his former quarterback, I guarantee you there's nothing that he, being Mike Elko, is going to see from Riley Leonard that he has not seen previously. And I guarantee you he is going to implore his defense to try to stop Mr. Leonard. I think that is a difference in this game. And I'm going to take Texas A&M at home by the score of 24-23. Now, on Sunday night in Vegas, you have a matchup between a Big Ten squad. Got to get accustomed to saying that now, and an SEC team, as you have the 23rd ranked USC Trojans taking on the 13th ranked LSU Tigers. When you think about these teams, both are national brands, both are looking to make a statement out of conference to begin their respective years, and both are looking to get to that coveted college football playoff. So now you've got the men of Troy who are transitioning to the Big Ten. And of course, they've got a tango in their first game with the Bayou Bengals in LSU. So this is Lincoln Riley's third year at USC. He's had people buzzing about the Trojans. They made a New Year's Six bowl game 2 years ago. Last year was not pretty, and a lot of it came down to their struggles on defense. We saw SC finish 119th in the nation last year in defense, which resulted in them bringing in former UCLA defensive coordinator D'Anton Lynn to try to fix things. You do have some talent on that side of the football for the Trojans with outside linebacker Mason Cobb as well as edge rusher Jameel Muhammad. But they've got to try to go out there and slow down this LSU offense. Very interesting right here because both of these coaches, Lincoln Riley for USC and, of course, Brian Kelly for LSU, they've got to replace quarterbacks that were taken in the first round. As a matter of fact, their respective quarterbacks were taken first and second in the NFL draft from last year. Caleb Williams of USC, and then, of course, Jaden Daniels of LSU. We've talked about USC's struggles on defense last year. LSU has a lot of talent on defense, but the Bayou Bengals were not that much better than USC was on defense. You've got Harold Perkins, you've got Greg Penn, you've got Major Burns. Will these guys go out there and step up and make some plays? Getting back to the quarterbacks that you're breaking in, Garrett Nussmeier for LSU, and I guarantee you that Brian Kelly has peppered him over the summer. And then you have Miller Moss for USC, and of course, Miller Moss, made his debut in a big way last year in that Holiday Bowl win for USC, and I guarantee you that young man has a lot of confidence for that. The LSU fans will definitely travel. They will be in Vegas on Sunday night, and the USC fans coming from LA to Vegas, you know what? That's a hop, skip, and a jump. I expect an electric crowd on Sunday night. I expect two electric teams that want to get things kicked off on the right foot, and I'm going to take the men of Troy to beat LSU by the score of 31-24. to 27. And finally, on Labor Day night, you've got an ACC battle down in Tallahassee, as you've got Boston College traveling to take on 10th ranked Florida State. And of course, if you're the Noles, this is your second straight game against a conference opponent right out of the chute. And I'm very interested to see how the Noles will bounce back after they were upset in Dublin last Saturday, courtesy of Georgia Tech. For me, I'm putting the onus on DJU and this Seminoles offense. It's one of those where they lacked explosion last week against a good Georgia Tech team. Will they be able to make some improvements heading into this game? We've got to wait and see. For me, the biggest thing with Florida State's offense, I think they have to run the football better. And then this Seminoles defense, led by outside linebacker DJ Lundy, will they be able to go out there and make the big play? Last week against Georgia Tech, they had their opportunities to get those turnovers slip through their hands, literally. And of course, the rest is history. Now, on the flip side for Boston College, their head coach, Bill O'Brien, is returning to the college game. And of course, we saw him have success previously when he was the head coach at Penn State. And of course, that was when Penn State was on sanctions. Now, Bill O'Brien does inherit one of the better dual threat quarterbacks in the ACC in Thomas Castellanos. And if you remember this game last year at Chestnut Hill, Boston College gave Florida State all that they could handle. I know that the Seminoles had some injuries in that game, most notably quarterback Jordan Travis. But nonetheless, if you're Florida State, you cannot overlook the Eagles in this one. Also, keep an eye out for senior running back Kyle Robichaux for Boston College in that backfield with Castellanos, as they are definitely going to put Florida State on upset alert. The Seminoles come into this contest favored by 16 and a half. I don't think they cover that. I think they're going to have to work for this win, but I'm going to take Florida State by the score of 31-20. So, folks, those are my key games for the first full weekend of this 2024 college football season. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now, you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.